Hello, I'm Marcel Kittel. Welcome to the Cycling Day.
Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Tadej Pogačar, a man who needs no introduction after his meteoric rise in the sport of cycling and also becoming the first ever Tour de France winner from the nation of Slovenia, and is incidentally now also the youngest ever two-time winner of the Tour. And also on top of that, he has the amazing record of winning 100% of the Tour de France he's participated in, along with an average of picking up 3 jerseys per tour. Simply remarkable. But that aside, in today's video we're going to look back at what happened in his neo-pro season back in 2019 and see how successful the superstar was then. Tadej Pogačar began his World Tour career with UAE Team Emirates back in 2019, of course, and the team were not the force they are now. They were much more of a team with too many chefs and not enough cooks. So it was seen as a potential disaster move for the young Slovenian for his development, who had incidentally also just won the top prize in the under 23 ranks in the form of the Tour de l'Avenir. Quite uncharacteristically as well, in the Tour de l'Avenir, Tadej Pogačar did not win any stages along the way to success. At the beginning of the year, Pogačar was thrown straight into the deep end by starting his season in the Tour Down Under, the Australian World Tour stage race, and the youngster managed to show himself on stage 3, finishing 8th overall. And then on the legendary Wollonga Hill, he managed to finish a respectable 15th. So overall, Tadej Pogačar managed to finish 13th in his first ever World Tour stage race. Next on the program after his Australian races, Tadej Pogačar headed to the Portuguese race, the Vuelta ao Algarve, a classic Portuguese stage race that has seen many top riders win the stage race in the past years, such as Alberto Contador and Geraint Thomas. On the opening stage, Tadej Pogačar managed to be in the mix, finishing 13th, but the highlight came on stage 2, the Queen stage, where Tadej Pogačar managed to take the win ahead of Wout Poels and also Enric Mas, and this was incidentally also his first fully fledged win as a pro. He thereby overtook the leader's jersey, and in the time trial in the following stage he managed to finish 5th and thereby keep hold of his lead. On stage 5, Pogačar was put under pressure by his rivals, but in the end he managed to finish 6th on a very hilly stage that was won by Zdeněk Stybar, and thereby this meant that Tadej Pogačar would win his first ever elite stage race in the pro ranks, with 14 seconds down to Søren Kragh Andersen and 21 seconds down to Wout Poels. At the time, this also meant that Tadej Pogačar became the youngest ever winner of this stage race at 20 years and 156 days, but the record only took 1 year to be beaten by a certain Remco Evenepoel. Tadej Pogačar then continued his year with Strade Bianche, his very first attempt at it, and then he also went to the GP Miguel Indurain, where he actually was in the mix, finishing 6th in the group that was 9 seconds behind the winner. The Tour of the Basque Country was next on the agenda for the young Tadej Pogačar, and he had a solid stage race, finishing 4 out of the 6 stages in the top 10 and 3 of them in top 5, with his closest result to victory being on stage 4, which was a 163.6 kilometer long stage, and it finished with a downhill. Pogačar was just out sprinted by Maximilian Schachmann for the win. However, the young Slovenian actually managed to finish 6th overall in the general classification and also took home the young rider classification. The Ardennes Classics was his next challenge, and here he did not manage to light up the results sheets, but the experience of his first monument in the form of Liège-Bastogne-Liège would definitely be very good in the future, finishing 18th overall. The Tour of California was the next World Tour race on his program, and his fellow Tour de l'Avenir winner Egan Bernal had dominated the previous edition, so it was up to Tadej Pogačar to show what he could do. On stage 2, finishing up to South Lake Tahoe, Tadej Pogačar managed to follow the strongest riders to come in 4th place. The following day he finished 10th into Morgan Hill, and on stage 5 he was 9th on the stage into Ventura. So this meant that coming into the Queen stage, the Slovenian superstar was in fact sitting in 4th overall, 16 seconds behind the leader and former winner of the race as well, TJ van Garderen. The penultimate stage was the big test, finishing up Mount Baldy, and Tadej Pogačar in the crucial moment of the stage managed to get up the road with Sergio Higuita, and a bit of bad luck for the Colombian misjudging the final turn into the stage finish meant that Tadej Pogačar could benefit and lift his arms for the second time in his young career and take his first ever World Tour stage win. Following the final stage, which confirmed him as the winner, it meant that Tadej Pogačar won the stage by 16 seconds ahead of Sergio Higuita and 17 seconds down to Kasper Asgreen. On top of the win, Tadej Pogačar also became the youngest winner of the race, surpassing the record of Egan Bernal set the year before. Pogačar next went to his national time trial championships, the senior one, and he managed to win, finishing 29 seconds quicker than Matej Mohoric and 45 seconds ahead of Jan Tratnik on the 43-kilometer long course. His next race was the famous GP Lugano, and he was in the mix once again, finishing 7th and 42 seconds behind his teammate and the winner, Diego Ulissi. Pogačar then had the honor of racing his home tour, the Tour of Slovenia, and managed to finish 4th overall, finishing 5 out of 6 stages in the top 10, and his teammate, once again Diego Ulissi, was the victor overall. Following 7th place at his national road race and a DNF in the San Sebastian Classic, Tadej Pogačar lined up for his first ever Grand Tour in the form of La Vuelta a España. Tadej Pogačar made a statement early on that he was not just there to survive and make up the early numbers by finishing 8th on stage 2 already. Tadej Pogačar put his stamp on the authority on stage 9 where he took the victory, and this was a very tough test in Andorra, and it also meant that Tadej Pogačar actually ascended himself in the GC, going from 9th all the way up to 5th. His next victory came on stage 13, and on the final climb, the race leader, Primož Roglič, decided to try and dissect the race with 2 stinging attacks with 3 kilometers to go on the grueling slopes. Pogačar was the only rider able to endure the attacks and consequently cooperated with his compatriot in the final kilometers to extend their advantage over the chasers, and in the end, Tadej Pogačar managed to outsprint Primož Roglič. Not content in his first Grand Tour, the 20-year-old wonder kid on stage 20 launched a long-ranged attack, attacking 5 kilometers from the top of the only challenge on the day, the Penta Negra, and he managed to open up a gap of 1 minute and 40 seconds by the time they got to the top of the Penta Negra. He maintained his advantage down the 20-kilometer descent, up the false flat on the approach to the final climb, and up the final climb itself, a 3rd category ascent, and his rivals struggled to reduce down his advantage, with Valverde being the first rider coming home 1 minute and 32 seconds down on the Slovenian. And this meant that Tadej Pogačar thereby finished 3rd overall on GC, and an incredible feat for a neo-pro in his first ever Grand Tour, not just surviving but managing to dominate it somewhat with 3 stage wins, and the panache was absolutely delightful to see. Pogačar finished this season at the Yorkshire World Championships in the elite category, finishing 18th overall in what was a very wet affair. So that concluded his very impressive neo-pro season, and it was incredible to say the least. 2 overall stage race victories, 3 Vuelta a España stages, 1 Vuelta a España podium, plus 2 stage wins and 5 young riders classifications in all the various stage races, and the only one he didn't win the young riders classification in was the Tour Down Under, his very first race. Tadej Pogačar proved in the years after that he was not just a one-season wonder, but the real deal. So that's it for looking back at Tadej Pogačar's neo-pro season. Let me know down below what you thought of it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss out on any of our videos. And of course, thank you for watching and have a nice day.